If you own a CRX, you are familiar with the cracked climate control, and good luck trying to find an original one that's in good condition because it's damn near impossible. We're actually going to remove this one and install a 3D printed climate control. While removing the climate control, you want to be careful with these wires right here. As you can see, I already broke one of them, and by the time I got the whole unit out of the car, I ended up breaking the other one as well. Apparently these plastic tabs that hold down these cables are prone to breaking as well, and with the age of the CRX, it's not a good idea to go messing with them. So that's why I decided to detach this complete assembly by simply unscrewing it from the housing. And here goes the 3D printed part. The first thing I noticed inside of the package is this little CRX keychain, which I think is a nice little touch to include. Looking at the actual climate control, the first thing I noticed is the surface finish. It actually looks really close to what like an OEM surface finish looks like. So yeah, not bad at all. And you could see how detailed this thing is. I mean, this thing must have took a ton of hours to print out, and I applaud the person who decided to do this because it really is like a work of art. Now I'm just gonna start to disassemble it. It looks pretty straightforward. I'm just removing pretty much any screw I can see. This back cover is held on with a few plastic clips, and you can see I'm prying up, and I'm right here with my flathead screwdriver. You want to keep in mind that this is old brittle plastic, so you don't want to break anything. Just be easy with all of it. There's one more clip right here on the side, and once we get this panel or this cover to move upward, you're not going to be able to remove it completely because there's a connector inside of here. You can see it has that brown connector on it, and it's kind of hard to get inside of there, so I'm just using my small flathead screwdriver to separate the connector. And there it goes. Once you get it disconnected, you could just kind of set this whole part aside and continue removing the rest of the screws. And now it's time to remove this plastic trim that goes around the buttons. As you can see, I'm pushing on the back side of this dummy button, which would normally be like the AC button. And as you can see, it lifted up that trim just a little bit so I could get it started. And I'm just gonna go ahead and use my small flathead screwdriver to just kind of work my way all the way around it. Honestly, I probably should have been using like a plastic body trim tool, but I decided to use a screwdriver for some reason. And I'm just going to work my way all the way around it until it separates. It's held on with some sort of adhesive and it comes off pretty easy, honestly. But the biggest problem here that you have to watch out for is the paint that's on it. You can see it separate right there. It's actually going to separate. You know, it'll happen here and there, so we're going to have to address that later on. But as I get this closer to the camera, you can actually see what I'm talking about. So there is a spot now where light passes through, and that's not good because it looks ugly. So we're gonna have to fix that later on. And here I am just taking a picture of all the buttons before I remove them, because you don't want to forget where the buttons go. Now to remove the buttons, you basically want to start on one side and pry on it. You can see I'm using my screwdriver here. Of course, be careful, you don't want to break anything. I ended up breaking one of mine, so that kind of sucks. But you want to pry on one side so it pops up, and then you can basically unhinge the other side. Now most of them are going to come off with the little decals or the artwork, but once in a while one of them will stay behind, how this one did here. But it's not a big issue, you could always remove it later on if you want. And another thing I noticed is you have to start from one side and work your way all the way across, meaning you can't just go in and remove the center button. You have to start like on the right side or the left side and just work your way down. There's another piece that's held on with more adhesive, and I found it difficult to get underneath it and get it started, so I just ended up breaking the housing. It doesn't really matter because the housing is getting replaced anyway, so you might as well make it easy on yourself. And once you get that housing out of the way, you could just go ahead and peel this off kind of like a sticker. The last pieces that we have to remove are these small clear lenses that basically light up whenever you push different buttons on the climate control. Just come from behind them with a small screwdriver and they pop right out pretty easy. One recommendation is keep your hand in front of them, because if you don't, they will go flying. Here I'm just test fitting the piece that I just took off on the new climate control, and it looks like it fits pretty well. So I wanted to address the area where the paint came off or peeled off. As you can see, I tried a Sharpie and it's not bad. I also want to try black like nail polish, which I think would be the best option, but I didn't have black nail polish. I had like a dark blue, so my last and final option was black spray paint, as you can see right there in that photo. And that seemed to work pretty good, but I'd want to bet that black nail polish would work just as well. Now when you're putting all of these buttons back together and getting them ready to go into the new housing, you have to put them on there first, meaning you can't put the buttons on the housing and then try to clip in the circuit board and all that stuff. All the buttons have to go onto the circuit board first. I know the climate control didn't have all of its light bulbs working. It was very obvious while it was in the car. So right now is the perfect time to address all of this. It's why I'm removing all of the light bulbs, and I'm going to use my multimeter to check for continuity on both sides of the bulb. You could hear the beeping, and whenever it beeps, that means it's good. After testing all of these light bulbs, I went online and bought some light bulbs. Well, I waited 2 weeks for them to come in, only to find out that they're not the right light bulbs. So I ordered another set, and it's been over a month and a half, and they still won't be here for another month or so. And this is actually what's taking this video to come out so long. This video would have been out over a month ago already, but because I've been waiting on light bulbs, I couldn't get the video out. But I got to a point where I said, just screw it. So I had to carry on. And sometimes you're gonna forget to put a part on. It's just part of the process. I've never really liked the tension on the speed control lever. It's like you always intend to just move up one speed, but you end up skipping two. It's just way too stiff, so I decided to take apart this box and see what I could do about making it a little bit easier to control the fan speed. So this is the actual lever that you slide back and forth, and the piece behind it is the housing. Now you can see there's dielectric grease inside of here, but it's grease back from 1991. It's actually got some green stuff inside of here. So I'm going to take this opportunity to clean it up, and I think I'm just using some alcohol right here. You can see the green stuff coming off on the napkin, and I'm just gonna clean it up as best as I can and put a fresh coat of dielectric grease. Now you don't want to go crazy with this stuff. All you need is a thin coat, and that should be good enough. On this side of the cover, you see these bumps that look like little hills. Well, those are the things that you have to overcome whenever you're sliding the lever back and forth, and it's what gives you that feeling of it falling into its like little notch or its place. So I put some dielectric grease up there just to help the little wheels roll a little bit easier. But I think the biggest thing that's going to make the biggest difference here is this small screw. There's a small screw inside of here. This is what puts tension on the spring. Alright, so all you have to do is loosen the screw and it relieves some of that tension, essentially making it easier to slide the lever back and forth. And now it's time to fix the two wires that I broke when I was removing the housing out of the car. Now it's time to reinstall the two pieces that we peeled off of the front of the old housing. You might get away with gluing them on, but I thought it's just a better option to tape them on. So I went on eBay and I found this tape. It's called film tape, and it's basically a very sticky double-sided tape that's very thin. So as you can see on both sides, it's sticky. Now you want to get two different sizes. Here goes the 5mm, and you can see I measured it so it fits perfectly on one side, and then for the real thin sides you want to get tape that's 2mm. So Yeah, I recommend just buying 2 rolls of it. Get a 5mm and a 2mm roll of it, and it's perfect. And then you just go ahead and cut the sizes that you need, and it's gonna take some time, but at the end of the day it's gonna work perfect. And of course, the areas where light is going to pass through, make sure not to put tape on those areas for obvious reasons. Another thing is, you can see I'm using a toothpick right here because I found that it's super easy to remove the backing off of the tape with a toothpick rather than trying to use your fingers. Just saves a bunch of time. Now here's one spot where I found a 3D printed part wasn't dead on, and it's right here where I was trying to put on this bezel for the fan speeds. It just doesn't fit right. It's like the 3D printed part is just a hair too large. Okay, so I actually had to peel mine off multiple times before I could figure out what was going on here. But my best recommendation is to start on one side, for example on the left side where the little fan icon is at, and get this side pushed in its groove nice and tight. And then as you work your way to the right side over here, you want to make sure you pull the bezel nice and tight, almost as if you're stretching it, because it just doesn't fit. The 3D printed part is just slightly off. So it really is like, get one side in first and then stretch the other side to fall into place. So I hope that makes sense. It's really hard to explain. And as you're getting it in place, you want to make sure you push on it very tightly so that double-sided tape actually sticks and it stays where you put it. It was a little bit of a fight. Like I said, I had to peel mine off a few times, but it turned out perfect at the end of the day. And here goes the bottom bezel on the bottom. Why did I say that twice? I have no idea. But same thing with this one. Just go ahead, take the tape off. But I found that the bottom one actually fits really nicely. It kind of just falls right into place. It's just the top one where I felt like I had to stretch it in order to get it to fit. At this point, I'm just admiring it because it turned out great. Honestly, it's a very well done 3D printed part, and for the most part it's dead on. Here goes that light bulb that I told you I ordered that was just wrong size. You can see how much smaller it is. And this right here, it's nerve-wracking because it's so difficult to get this back into place. It's one thing pulling out the old one that you know is no good and you're gonna replace, but to put in the new one without scratching it, and it is hell, absolute hell trying to get this thing in. I was just like sweating bullets because I didn't want to scratch up my new nice piece, but I got it in. But what sucks is I have to pull it out someday again in the future to replace these light bulbs. Just don't remind me.